The children celebrating over a vengeful spirit, over a dead kid with a grudge. Not sure if we should celebrate that. Generic controlling the deck goes, and here back with some more game theory FNAF videos. Today we solved Golden Freddy, which I think it's going to be the conclusion that I believe Golden Freddy is possessed by two spirits at the same time, and that's why the right eye is one color and the other one is, the left eye is also a different color but on different heads, so signifying that there's two spirits fighting over controlling Golden Freddy. I'm not really sure. You want to check my reaction to last week's video, which was Confessions of a FNAF Fan by Foot of a Ferret, who worked on the Game Theory FNAF videos, was an editor for Game Theory, and edited a couple of them and talked about how scary the games were and played night one for the very first time. I also get scared of scary games. You can check my reaction to that video. I'll leave it right up there. Also, a link down below in the description. Also going to place my channel with all the other FNAF Game Theory videos going in chronological order. Now, I've only ever played the first game. There's 2 videos on my channel of me beating the first game, going to all 6 or 7 nights, I believe. But I really enjoyed this series. I believe that this is the last video before we jump into Security Breach. So that's going to be interesting. I think there's like another video I should have watched before doing Security Breach or something like that. I'm not really sure, but let me know down below in the comment section so I read every single comment. Also, shout out to the patrons because they get the videos a day early and allow me to not have a paywall on the channel. Could not do this if it was not for them. I'm completely against paywalls, and I'm here to make you smile, not make you pay, and also read every single comment. And I'll also be live stream today at 5 p.m. playing some of my Pokemon White 2 Nuzlocke, which has been very interesting. Just got my 7th gym badge. We're getting closer to the end of the game. The 7th gym badge was rough because it was the Dragon Gym, but I'm excited to jump into this. Let's go ahead and get on into it. All right. Emergency room. Okay. This sounds pleasant. This is normal hospital sounds, right? Reminds me of playing Outlast. It was not a fun time. They've seen better days. What? Oh, that was the hair. No? Okay. What was that intro about? I don't think anything will top the psychic
Internet.
friend
Welcome
Fredbear.
to Game Theory, where today's episode is perhaps the single most important that we've done on the FNAF lore in a long time.
The most important
Today, my
video.
friends, our goal is to solve Golden Freddy.
Two
That's
spirits
right,
fighting
FNAF
over
Reddit.
Golden
I'm
Freddy.
justified in using my favorite golden boy in the thumbnail today because this
It
episode
works
is
for
all
thumbnails.
about him. It's them. Which,
Them,
I gotta be
two
honest,
people.
is probably a good thing, because I'm running out of ways to make old Yeller over here look interesting in a thumbnail. I mean, the dude's only got, like, 2 decent quality images
pictures, yeah.
in the entire 6-year history of this franchise. Say what you will about milking this franchise dry, we've milked that image dry. If
Yeah.
only every other character in this franchise was as clickable. But, seriously,
Yeah,
with
it's
the recent
colors.
release of Bunny Call, the 5th Fazbear Fright book,
Oh?
I think we have enough information now to finally put together a quasi-definitive answer on who is in that iconic golden suit.
Is that the
Which,
thing
gotta
from
be honest,
Bendy and
is,
Ink
like,
Machine?
the biggest mystery to me in this franchise at this point. Solving this one is like
I mean, the
obtaining
box
the
is
first of 3
the most interesting.
massive holy grails when it comes to the
The
lore of this
orange guy.
franchise. But in order to do it,
Timeline.
we're gonna have to look at the games, the books, and the spin-offs, and by the end, we'll have ourselves an answer that not only fits with the established lore of
Stitchwraith,
both
so
game
cool.
and book, but also an answer that satisfies pretty much everything about this character. An answer that irons out all the wrinkles and frustrations
That's a lot of
that I've
videos.
had when
We still got a
concocting
ways to go. I
past
think next
theories
one's
about this
Security
guy.
Breach.
Oh, and it also just picks a little bit at the scabbed over wound of a past theory, poking it just enough that it might get infected. So
Oh,
are you
don't
ready
do that.
to
Don't
have
play-
your
don't
mind
take your
blown?
stabs.
Are you ready to finally have the answer to this mystery that has been 6 years in the making? Well then, let's begin with the
different...
Stitchwraith.
Yes!
For those of you who've missed it, the Stitchwraith story is happening in small chunks at the end of each Fazbear
Yeah, but
Fright
never
book,
appears
kinda
in a
like an
single
MCU
game.
post-credits teaser minus the color-shifting Thanos. It's about an
Oh, yeah?
animatronic
Well.
suit pieced together from the haunted spare parts of various toys and robots, given life through the power of human agony. Now that it's alive,
Yeah.
the creature is wandering the city, collecting more haunted toys,
It's like the
and
janitor
killing people
cleaning
with its
everything up.
zappy hands, sucking their bodies dry and making them cry oily black tears.
Oh.
And up to this point, that's pretty much all we knew about
Oh.
this monstrosity.
Like the
leading
Billie
me to
Eilish
conclude
music
that the
video.
reason we're meeting this thing is to prove the existence of Remnant and how it works via negative human emotions. Maybe send him up as the new villain for that upcoming game Security Breach.
Uh-huh.
Or, at the very least, that's
He's
what
not
I
in
thought.
any game. I know that.
No, dear theorists. The Stitchwraith is far more important than we could could have ever imagined. In the epilogue of book number 4, Step Closer, we meet Andrew and Jake,
he
the
didn't.
two
Did he
souls
do a
who
book
find
on
themselves
book
trapped
4?
inside
Or
the
do a video on
Stitchwraith.
book 4?
And the conversation that they have when they first meet starts to give us some of the lore drops that we have been waiting years to hear. Quote from the book: "Now Jake was inside a metal thing. He didn't know enough about anything to understand what it was, but he did know that he wasn't alone. He was sharing this strange place." "Oh, hi," Jake said.
Oh,
Jake.
his like
Who are
soul's
you?"
trapped in the
Andrew.
metal.
The child's voice was rough. He sounded a little like a boy Jake used to know in school. A boy who was always talking back to the teacher and getting himself in trouble. Jake thought Andrew sounded angry. Very angry. End quote. We're told that even though both their souls are infused into the same endoskeleton, Jake is the only one able to move the Stitchwraith's
But how many other
body.
people?
He's
Oh,
also
really?
the only
So they're
one
controlling
capable
it?
of seeing the outside world. Andrew is blind to it all. It's kind of like those two-man horse costumes. You never want to wind up being the butt in those things, especially on Chipotle days. It's no wonder Andrew's so mad. I'd be too if I was forced to spend an eternity looking at someone else's soul butt. However, it's when they start talking about their former lives.
But is it just those two?
Get really
or is there more?
Interesting. Quote again: "My memories are kind of fuzzy," Jake said. "Fuzzy? Yeah, so are mine," Andrew responded. "But I do remember wanting to get back at someone who hurt me. I think I attached myself to him. I got into his soul, made sure he couldn't move on when he should have died. I remember I wanted him to suffer, the way he made me suffer. I remember they tried to kill him, but I wasn't going to let him go until I was ready." With a story like that, you could almost say that Andrew
just fueled
is a
on
spirit
vengeance?
wanting revenge.
Yeah,
a literal
a ghost.
vengeful spirit, perhaps. Now, loyal FNAF
Possibly.
theorists have an idea of where this is all going, right? Back when Ultimate Custom Night first came out, we theorized that the entire game was William Afton trapped in a fiery hexscape, a constant cycle of torture and torment at the hands of his past victims. Or should I say one victim in particular, the spirit of Golden Freddy. Sure, he was called by many names, the one you should not have killed, the vengeful spirit, but in the end, by doing the impossible of that game and beating 50-20 mode, it's revealed that Golden Freddy lingers on, twitching with rage, refusing to move on into his afterlife. And here, Andrew is pretty much confirming exactly that. Sound the party horns and the children celebrating. It looks like
children celebrating over a vengeful spirit.
Mostly right. What's interesting about this whole Jake and
a dead kid with a grudge.
Is that back with
Not sure we
Ultimate
should celebrate
Custom
that.
Night, we assumed that William Afton was dead and that this was just his afterlife in purgatory or HE double hockey sticks or whatever. He died in Henry's Fire, the one that was set at the end of FNAF 6, the one meant to bring the whole series to a close. I mean, how could he not be dead? Henry even had that awesome final line for him.
"Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole.
Oh.
Don't keep the devil waiting, old friend."
You don't just survive one-liners like that. And
yeah, no, that is...
Andrew says that he was actively keeping his killer
That's how you end a movie.
against everyone's attempts on his life.
Oh, so that's what the intro was.
That Afton is still... No.
I always come back.
How, dude?
He protect. He always come back. But just because William may have been kept alive in the book lore doesn't necessarily mean that he was left alive in the game lore too. Well, it should.
Is he?
But
I don't know.
I think it does. Fast forward to this month in our newest book, Bunny Call. What was originally supposed to be the 5th and final installment in the Fazbear Fright series. A literal 5 books at Freddy's. Until, of course, it got extended and now we have ourselves the bonus 6th and 7th night books.
Oh, really?
And, well, the first 2 stories in this new book are interesting and certainly worth talking about on a different day. It's the 3rd one, The Man in Room 1280,
which is going to be Afton,
into our Golden Freddy mystery today.
Who's probably being kept in a coma or something.
It's about a mysterious man in a hospital, burned well beyond the point of death,
Niki
and yet
Lauda?
somehow he remains alive. Quote from the book. The man had no face. A hole in his skull indicated where his nose used to be. Dark, cavernous pits lacking eyes looked at nothing. A toothless mouth gaped without lips to protect it. "We'd be remiss if we didn't warn you," the nurse said. "We know what that is. Evil, Father Blythe. Evil." In fact, the hospital staff is so convinced that he's the embodiment of evil that they tried to kill him multiple times.
He can't
via
die.
Injections, via smothering, via seances,
but he just won't die.
Will do it.
He just won't die.
Be killed, but not for the reasons that you would expect. It's not an iron will to live or the remnant that's flowing through his veins that's keeping him alive. It's a ghost. Each attempt on the patient's life is thwarted by the ghost of a boy with curly black hair wearing an alligator mask. In fact,
an alligator mask
intertwined with each other. The story informs us about the patient's brain patterns and they're a bit unusual. Quote, according to the hospital's sleep expert, that particular REM pattern indicates nightmares. Horrific, nightmares. See,
Oh.
there and there, the nurse pointed at one part of the brain scan. 2 signals means 2
So
living
he's just being
things,
kept
2
there.
entities. They're both vying for
Tortured.
control of the brain, but they're at odds with each other. We think they're tormenting each other. Sounds a bit like Andrew, right? Andrew attached himself to the man who killed him and refuses to let him die so he can torment him, which is the exact relationship between the vengeful spirit and William Afton in the games. And if there was any doubt about who this mysterious man in the hospital is, the
This is
patient wants to go
wild.
to a Fazbear distribution center, and we're told that the Stitchwraith
Before he-
mystery
wait,
is somehow
he can
tied
talk?
to a
Like he's
mysterious
alive?
fire
Like,
involving
not in a
Freddy's
coma?
and the former owners of the business. Every which way
Oh,
to Sunday,
that's not
this
pleasant
is
to look
our
at.
William Afton stand-in for these books. Andrew is our vengeful spirit stand-in.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
and it
everything's a
feels like the
parallel.
book is trying to tell us that Custom Night wasn't purgatory or heck, it was Afton's living nightmare as he was laying in a hospital bed recovering. William
I don't know if you
Afton
recover
may
from that.
still be alive.
'Cause he always
Or
comes
maybe
back.
he was alive and then he eventually explodes. Yeah, the story
Wait, he
ends with
explodes?
William's carcass being wheeled out to the Fazbear distribution
And
center,
explodes?
and then it literally blows up like a bomb. It is just as gross and gory and disgusting as you would expect it to be. Maybe it's a good
Oh.
thing that these books don't have pictures.
Yeah,
My
probably a
personal
good thing,
guess
yeah.
is that this is what releases the angry spirit of Andrew into lots of other toys like Fetch and Plush Trap, and it may also be how Afton's
Bro
soul
is
gets
holding a
itself into
grudge.
computer chip that eventually gives life to Glitch Trap. Okay, this has been a lot about Afton, and I promised that this would be a mega theory about Golden Freddy. So how does it all connect together? Well, notice how I described Andrew's ghost, a boy with curly black hair and an alligator mask. It's the same hair as the mysterious dead body found inside Golden Freddy's suit back in Fazbear Frights number 3. Quote from that book: "Down low, past his arm, Devin could see a body, a dead body. But it
But it was
wasn't
curly black
exactly
hair.
like he thought he'd find. This one had curly black
Yeah.
hair." The lore of this series doesn't tend to give us a lot, but one thing it tends to keep relatively
Is hair and
consistent
eye
is
color.
hair. So
And
knowing
eyes.
that Andrew is an angry spirit with curly black hair, and that Golden Freddy has
Had
a
a-
body
with
inside of it
curly
with
black
hair, Andrew is pretty clearly our Golden Freddy kid, which
Yes.
makes things related to Andrew roughly related to Cassidy back in the games. Want even more of a connection between the two of them?
Sure.
The name Cassidy is derived from an Irish surname meaning clever or curly-haired. Actually owe that little factoid to Redditor Shrek the First. Good
course,
find on that
Reddit.
one. I actually would have never thought to look into the name Cassidy. So even though Andrew may not be named
the depth of the
Cassidy
series
in
is
the book,
so
he's still
insane.
representing the origin of the name through his hair. Now, here is why all of
Oh.
this matters. Follow me on this. Both Andrew in the books and Cassidy in the games are missing children's incident victims, stuffed inside of suits and angry enough to keep their killer in a purgatory state so he can be tortured. Seems like a pretty slam dunk connection there. We know that up to this point, the books have been hinting at the fact that Golden Freddy may have more than one soul inside of him. And in these
Yeah.
stories, we see Andrew actively upset that he has to
Share
share
it
an
with-
endoskeleton with another dead kid. So is it possible that in the games, Golden Freddy is possessed by both Cassidy and the Bite of 83 victim, Vengeful Spirit and the Crying Child, just like Andrew sharing a body with Jake in the books. After all, we know via clues in the text, as well as book number 6's description, that his
Blackbird.
endoskeleton mate Jake is a nice kid who died tragically in a hospital.
Oh,
we know
'cause
that
he
the
was
Crying
sick.
Child is also a nice kid who dies tragically in a hospital. Even though he
Yeah.
got bitten before, but you know.
That's
Now,
fine.
admittedly, that alone is a weak sauce connection, I admit it. What's not weak sauce, though, is that evidence is actually out there to prove that two spirits are in Golden Freddy. So last month we proved that Foxy Bro is definitely Michael Afton.
Yeah,
It is a
that's
huge
confirmed.
confirmation from this
Yeah.
series, but that came with a set of problems, specifically in the form of the security logbook. The problem is that the spirit Cassidy in the book seems to be talking to Mike about things that only apply to the Bite of 83 victim, saying things like, "The party was for you," and talking
Do you
about
remember
his
your name
bastard
and-
purple telephone. It doesn't make sense if Cassidy is talking to Michael Afton. But what if Cassidy isn't talking to Mike?
Who are you
What
talking
if
to?
Cassidy is having a conversation with
With the-
someone else, with
that's in
a
the body.
second spirit? The logbook doesn't just have one person in it, it has two. This was brought to my attention by a comment on YouTube from Inky Ink, who says it's not useful reading the YouTube comments, right? Quote,
Yeah,
I
well, I mean, I
direct you
read
now
every
to
single one of
pages
them, so go
89
ahead.
and 109, where we see a spirit replying to Fated's questions through altering the text existing in the book. Therefore, we know that Fated is not talking to Mike, but talking to Mike's brother, who is also in the logbook. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I gotta say, that is the best TED Talk I've ever seen. Definitely beats the one about how to dry your hands using a single paper towel.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And Inky Ink isn't
That
wrong
was
here
TED
either.
Talk?
I went back to double check. One of the things
Lord.
the Fated text says is that the party was for you.
Uh-huh.
And right there on page 89 is the
It
answer.
was for me.
It was for for me. A statement and an acknowledgement of that statement. A conversation. Two spirits, one
Through the book.
Two spirits, one animatronic. For years, I have been frustrated by the fact that the crying child, the bite victim of 83, would have made the most sense to pass into the Golden Freddy body, but it never lined up with the fact that 5 kids died during the missing children's incident, and that one of them would have had to have gone on to possess Golden Freddy. But now we have a solution to both of those things.
That they
Freddy
both
can
did.
still have the bite victim in him. One
And
that
one
says,
of the 5.
"It's me," when he sees his brother working as a security guard. But it can also have a second spirit in him. One who died in this horrific missing children's incident murder, and one who continues to torment Afton long after he's passed on. And the logbook isn't done. Sure, on those pages we see the responses of, "It was for me," and "I'm scared," but we
Existential
also see
dread.
the responses of, "I can hear sounds and I can't see." It,
Oh.
once again, is a parallel back to the Andrew and Jake situation, where one spirit can see and maneuver the body,
And
while
the
the
other
other
one-
is trapped down below the surface, able to listen, but unable to do much else. This feels
Which
like
kinda
the solution
feels
to
like
Golden
purgatory
Freddy that we've
almost.
been waiting for. The problem with him is that we've always assumed he was just one kid, one spirit who we tried to make fit into all the various details about the lore, but it never quite worked. And that's because it would never work. In reality, you always needed two entities. One, sensitive and kind, a younger brother looking for peace, and one, the victim of a brutal murder, violently eager for revenge. And here's the real twist, my friends, that might not be all. There's one last small detail in the Stitchwraith story that we have to keep an eye on. We learn in that story that Jake and Andrew aren't intentionally murdering people, that when they reach out to touch someone, they accidentally zap them. Jake
Accidentally?
assumes it's Andrew doing it, but he's wrong.
What is this,
Final
Electro
quote from the
Boom?
book. I just want to scare people, okay? The zap is killing them. Well,
That's
that
fine.
wasn't what I wanted. So if what you're doing isn't doing what you want, maybe it's doing something someone else wants. Maybe something else is here with us. You are a hitchhiker on the man who killed you. Why can't someone else hitchhike with us? So it
That's
looks
true.
like there might be more souls involved when it comes to Golden
But
Freddy.
maybe
that's
they
a
like
story
fade
for
over
another
time,
day.
and
with
that's
that,
why
my
one of them
friends,
sounded
that's the last
rough.
book until next year. There's definitely a few
next
stories
year.
I haven't talked about that merit another video or two, but for now,
I think the next video is
going
gonna
to
be Security Breach, which is gonna be
come
wild.
to an end, which I gotta say I'm kind of sad about. These have been a great way to engage with the mysteries of the franchise, with the slow drip coming out over the course of this year.
Yeah, the
Like
books
a
are
book
crazy,
every
or
other
this
month.
little
It's been a
mini-series,
really
I
cool
guess.
release strategy. And honestly, some of these stories are the creepiest things produced by this franchise in a long time. Anyway, I guess the only thing left at this point is crossing our fingers for that new game to come out soon. Now,
Yeah, it was
all right,
delayed
Scott, don't
because
you
of
release another
COVID, I
game
think.
on us or anything? No? Oh, that
No.
used to work.
They're
Oh,
reverse
probably better to
psychology.
wait anyway. Halloween is just around the corner, and there's not a whole lot of other ways we're going to be able to celebrate it this year. But
yeah,
hey,
COVID,
if you
'cause this
haven't
was
checked out these
2020
books yet,
probably.
but are a fan
Oh,
of
what
the
a year
series,
that
then
was.
check them out using our sponsor for today's episode,
Is it Audible? Okay.
It's one thing to read
There's
these
music playing in the
stories, it's
background,
another
and I do
thing
not want that to
hear
get
these stories.
copyright
I gotta say,
claimed like it
nothing
has
is
in
better
the
than hearing a
past.
scary
So I'm gonna be skipping out on the Audible sponsorship. Shout out to them for supporting Game Theory. It's just in the past with Game Theory videos, when they have sponsor reads like that, they play music in the background, and then once the video goes live, then they copyright claim it. Then I have to mute that entire segment of the video, which is really annoying because I do it after the fact because I wait until the video goes live and not when it's unlisted. But this was, I guess, the history of Golden Freddy, and we know who's controlling Golden Freddy now. So this was really, really interesting. I don't know if this is true or not. I think it's been pretty confirmed for a while that there's at least 2 people controlling Golden Freddy. And like I said, I think maybe over time they like fade. Maybe? I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just kind of like a perpetual system built on vengeance and revenge, just spite and agony. I have no idea. I look forward to the next one, which is going to be FNAF Security Breach. I know the big twist, which maybe that's actually before Security Breach comes out. I'm not really sure. I look forward to that video. Hope to subscribe. Patrons will get a day early. I'll be live stream today at 5 p.m. playing some Pokemon White 2. It's a Nuzlocke. It's rough. I look forward to the next video. I hope to see you there. Hopefully make daytime a little better. But until next video, take care and keep the music.
We were playing as soldiers, making swords.